my god! Wow!
Pick us! Building the bench room! Rush trips! Night game ahead!
Hello again folks, and welcome back to this week's video. And again, we're heading out into the wild looking for treasure and hidden gold in charity shops, pawn shops, CX, anywhere we can find video games. Again, this week we are heading into the city of Norwich. So there's a couple of different districts of Norwich, so this time I'm going to one I haven't been to in a long while. It's not the biggest city in the world, but it is too big to probably do all the charity shops in one day, so I like to split it up a little bit. And oh boy, did we come up. I think so far, touch wood, these are my biggest pickups of 2022 so far. So I know you folks are excited, so let's jump straight into the video. Reminder to everyone, if you enjoy the content, please remember to subscribe. I put new videos out every single Saturday live at 5, and I'm also streaming videos throughout the week. So get involved, follow the link, and see you here more often. Here we go then, first charity shop of the day. And straight away the first thing I spy is this Sabrina the Teenage Witch game for the PlayStation 1. So it might not be the most exciting game of all time, but for a quid, for a PlayStation Black Label game in not bad damage, you know I'm going to be picking it up. And as soon as I see one thing that looks interesting, I'm going to be digging a little bit deeper. So I did grab a couple of these games and took them over to the shelf to pay for them, but then I did find out that actually 5 for a quid was anything on these shelves, so I added a few more, round it up to £1. Just around the corner and to our next charity shop, and they had a veritable stack of games. So a lot of these were sports games, a lot of FIFAs, a lot of Pro Evo, but I don't normally look at PC games, but this one had me interested. Look at those amazing Ubisoft classic tiles, all separately packaged and for £1. This is a really nice box set, definitely one I wanted to pick up. I just want to interrupt here and just say quickly, this is the big pickup right here. This is one of the best pickups of 2022 so far. This was a perfect example of right place and right time. I don't think these things have been on the shelf very long, and I don't think they'd have stuck around very long if I hadn't grabbed them first. So check this one out, folks. It's a good one. I know. Soon as I went into this charity shop, this thing immediately caught my eye. I think I even saw it through the window. This Street Fighter arcade stick is absolutely sick, and for just 20 quid. Here I am testing all the buttons, make sure they all sound perfectly clicky, but I turned around and my eyes, I just couldn't believe it. There was a literal stack of strategy guides. There's some amazing ones in here. Look, on the top, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword strategy guide. Straight after that, Game of the Year edition Fallout 3 strategy guide. Then Too Human for the Xbox 360. I don't know how long these guys have been here, but I do not think it was very long. There was a couple of duffers like these Skylanders ones, but you just don't see this many strategy guides in one place, and weird postcards of lizards. But yeah, a Stalker strategy guide. There was so many. Diablo 3. It's just every single one seemed to be better than the other. I just couldn't believe it. Normally I see these 1 or 2 at a time at the car boot, but here I was with an absolute stack. This is an amazing Diablo 3 hardcover Book of Cain. It's in such good condition. These must have come from someone's collections. This was one of the ones that amazed me. Game Boy Advance guides in 2022 in a charity shop. I was literally shaking after I took these to the till, and you won't believe how much I got these for. So after that absolutely amazing store, I had to just carry on the game hunt. You just have to keep going. It's things like that that drive me to look through more shops, as you never know what you're going to find. Obviously, every time you're going to find stacks of DVDs, stacks of shovelware, football games, crappy DS games, but it's just that one time you find something, it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I was back on the hunt, picking through all of these shelves, trying to find those decent games. They're a little bit overpriced in places, but I was ducking into shelves, looking into cabinets, because that's the kind of place you find the really cool stuff. Such as, you can just find these DSs. If you find one with Pokemon, it can be worth your while. It's just digging through all of the rubbish and the stuff that no one wants to find the cool hidden gems. Even though sometimes you don't come away with tons of games, but for me, it's kind of the thrill of the hunt. It may not be the most traditional place to look for video games, but this is Lucy's, a massive antique fair in Norwich. And I seem to remember years ago they used to have a booth that was chock-a-block with video games. So if there's games in here, you know I'm going to be sniffing them out. But this place is such a sensory overload. It is absolutely huge. It is like a warehouse split over 2 massive floors, and literally you can find anything in here, including these terrifying clowns. This was the first booth that really piqued my interest. It seemed like it had some really cool kind of retro toys hidden in there. There was some turtles, there was some kind of Marvel figures, there was some interesting stuff, but it was pretty overpriced. It wasn't quite as vintage as what I'm usually looking for, but there was definitely some cool bits in here, and it spurred me on to dig a little bit deeper. This is just one of those places where you literally never know what you're going to find. There was an entire booth of just Pokemon cards. There were some really nice ones in here. They were quite expensive, and I didn't have all the time in the world to start diving through and really getting deep into these, but there was just something for everyone here. Look at the state of these absolutely amazing vintage pinball machines. These things are absolutely beautiful. If I had the space, I'd have taken both of these home with me that very day, but it's just everywhere you look there was something else cool to see. Like, look at this television. Imagine running a retro console through this TV. It looks like something in the future though. It's obviously from like the 70s or 80s, but this was only the first floor. This place was stretched over 2 absolutely massive floors, and it was a lot to take in. You just turn a corner, there's a Dalek, there's a motorbike, there's everything, and this was just the first floor. And just to give you an idea of how big this place was, this was going up one of the staircases. There was multiple staircases, and you think, oh, it won't be that big upstairs, it'll just be a little bit more stuff, and you come in and it again is floor to ceiling with more and more stuff. The videos really can't do justice how big this place really is, and if you're in the area, I definitely recommend paying it a visit. It is something you'll not believe. As I said, I can't really do it justice on here. Sadly, I didn't have all the time in the world this day to go around and just look at every single area. I didn't actually manage to find any video games, even though I scoured for hours, but yeah, if you're ever in the area, Lucy's is definitely worth a visit. You could pick through this place for the entire day. Next door was certainly a little bit smaller and a lot more manageable, and the first thing I found was this Dogtanian Complete Series DVD. Shout out to anyone who remembers this one. That's an absolute banger of a cartoon. What I did like about this store is you can kind of just pull through drawers and just find random things. Like I found this entire set of Street Fighter movie trading cards for just £4.50. But they did have a few games. There was nothing really that majorly stood out. The prices on their games were quite high. I think a lot of their kind of higher end gaming stuff was in these 2 glass cabinets. So you kind of had an Xbox One, there was some Nintendo DS, some Game Boy stuff, obviously some Pokemon games, but again, they were pretty expensive. But it was a cool little shop to poke around. I did find some real nice hidden gems, especially this Joker alarm clock. If you've been watching for a while, you know I love these Lego alarm clocks. Word of advice to people who run charity shops: this is how you entice me into a store. Not only was there Rock Band drum kit in the window, there was also a remote controlled Jurassic Park Jeep. That is how you get me in the store. Regardless of even seeing these amazing vintage t-shirts, I knew I had to go straight into this store. So straight to the glass cabinet, they had these really cool Funko Mini Mysteries, Rick and Morty, Back to the Future card game. They had some really good Simpsons collectibles. Who remembers that Thomas the Tank Engine laptop? I had one of those. Next was these really cool Simpsons gold figures, and round the corner was this Simpsons The Yellow Album CD, and this album is weird. It is one of the most 90s things I've ever heard, but the 90s nostalgia did not stop there. If you're a punk, metal, hardcore or ska fan in the early 2000s, this shop had you covered. They had Goldfinger, CKY, everything. They had some amazing CDs. Sadly, they're all about £3 or £4 each. Oh, I already had them in my collection, but somebody, seriously, they passed away their amazing collection to this store. Of course, no visit to Norwich is complete without a trip to CX to see what they have this time that I can pick up to add to the collection. But judging from the window, again, it just doesn't seem like they're getting a lot of great stuff in at the minute. There was this Halo Xbox Series X, or whatever the hell it is called, but I am not dropping CX prices on a next-gen Xbox. But as soon as I went in, this is one of the most curious things I've seen. If you saw my last episode when I went to Yarmouth, you'll see that CX had a Game Boy Pocket in there for £95. Here it was 110 for pretty much the exact same console. I don't know, maybe they graded this one as mint and that one is just good, but I did see a game that I needed for the 20 in 2022 collection, but when I got it to the counter, sadly it was water damaged, and also every single game I'm trying to pick up for that collection in a minute is wrong in some way. That Metal Gear did not have the demo for Silent Hill, but there was some really good retro stuff in here this time, but nothing that really jumped out at me price-wise. I just wasn't really looking to make a big jump purchase, but one section I will always go through at the moment is the Wii U section, because it's getting harder and harder to add games. So guess now which one I picked up while I was in CX. So there it was, another week out in the wild game hunting, and what a beautiful way to end the day as the sun was going down, walking the old streets of Norwich. But now, let's see what we picked up. Back to the games room. Wow, just wow folks, it is not every week you have a gaming pickup week like this one, but these are the kind of weeks that keep me out there every weekend looking for treasure hidden in the stores. And this first pickup is one of my favourite pickups in a long while. It is this tournament edition fight stick for Street Fighter, which I picked up for just £20. I couldn't believe my eyes when I walked in the shop and saw this. This has all the buttons, they all work perfectly. I cannot wait to hook this up to the Xbox 360. This is the way fighting games should be played. This thing would set you back £56 at the moment in CX, and with that new Street Fighter game being announced, you know the hype is only going to push that price up. Really glad, 20 quid, absolute steal. But of course that was not our only Street Fighter based pickup this week, as we managed to pick up this complete set of Street Fighter the movie trading cards. So folks, let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on Street Fighter the movie? I actually rewatched it recently, and it is corny, it is cheesy, but it's not as bad as people say it is. Obviously it's not incredibly close to the game, and it's nowhere near as good as the Mortal Kombat film that came out around the same time, but I am a sucker for trading cards. These were £4.50 for the entire set of 90 cards. So they're not going to really go for much more than that, but I'm a sucker for trading cards. And once again, like with a fighting stick, because they've just announced that new Street Fighter game, Street Fighter stuff is going to go through the roof. So back to the video games, and who would have thought in the year 2022 you could walk into the first charity shop of the day and find a PlayStation 1 game for £1. But that's not all. This is the sticker price. In that store, it was any 5 games for £1. That is 20p for Sabrina the Teenage Witch, A Twitch in Time, which is at least half of what this game is worth. I already had this in the collection, but for 20p I could not pick it up. The other games I picked up was Beat the Intro for the Nintendo DS, which has songs from the 1960s to the 2000s. If this has digitized chip tunes of popular songs, this is going to be a bit of a laugh. So the other 3 games I just picked up just to kind of fill that pound quota. So I got Rockstar Table Tennis, UFC 2001 Undisputed, and another of the PlayStation Move required shovelware games, Start the Party. But for 5 games for £1, you can't really go wrong. Next up we have this PC box set, which I don't normally pick up. I'm not really one to pick up PC games very often, but I just really like the artwork of this. This is for the Ubisoft 25 years of entertainment, and it's just a collection of their iconic games. But this is back when Ubisoft made some incredible games. We're talking Assassin's Creed, Beyond Good and Evil, Prince of Persia, Rayman 3, even the original Far Cry. It's just, if nothing else, it's a cool shelf piece and just reminds you of how good these games used to be. And you just get the full artwork for every single game. And even crazier, these are all fully wrapped still. These are complete in their packets and wrapped. If nothing else, for £1, amazing display piece. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you know I'm always on the lookout for Wii U games, and I'm a massive fan of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, so this one was a bit of a no-brainer. I have got this over so many systems now. Me and my wife actually got to 100% completion of this game on Valentine's Day. That is a good way to spend Valentine's Day. £5 for a Wii U game, can't go wrong. Our final pickup this week, and is literally one of the biggest pickups I've ever done. Seriously, I had to carry all of these guides for the rest of the trip. I picked these up so close in the journey, but it was all a case of right place and right time. The guy in the store had just put these out. He had no idea how to value them, so I just asked him to throw me a number. He said 20 quid for all of these guides. These are just some of them. Look at some of the titles we have in here. We have Guild Wars, we have XCOM, we have Diablo 3, we even have 2 Human for the Xbox 360. And these are not even the best of the guides. I'm going to jump in and break down some of the even better ones we picked up in this massive £20 bundle, in which he just kept adding more and more guides. It was an amazing pickup for 2022. Let's dive into some of the really valuable best pieces of this collection. This one here was the first guide I saw when I saw that stack sitting in the shop. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword guide. This is selling on eBay at the minute for about £12, but you know, as soon as I see anything Zelda, I'm going to pick it up. And this thing inside is so beautiful. The colours are so nice. Just look at the artwork on this. This is what, for me, strategy guide collecting is all about, but there's so much more in this bundle. The next one is one that really stood out for me, as I wasn't really sure what it was. I was fairly sure it's from Diablo. You can see on the side there it says the Book of Cain. So this is kind of like more of a prop from Diablo 3. This is selling for about £10, but again, the artwork is incredible in here. It's like, it's really hard to tell. There's just like, it goes through all of the lore of the game. And even like the sides of the pages here, they kind of like got this ripple effect. But the main thing for this one, the map is still sealed in the back of the guide. As I said, these things are super mint. I'm so glad to add them into the set. The thing with this bundle is just the absolute amount of guides you're getting for your money. So this was one of the ones he threw in, the Star Wars The Old Republic Explorers Guide for that old Star Wars MMO. If you remember that, you are an OG. That game was an absolute boss. This one sells for around £8 on eBay. But again, it's just the artwork inside, the maps, and just the love that goes into some of these strategy guides. And this thing, again, is absolutely mint. You know I'm a Star Wars fan, so I'm really glad to add this to my strategy guide collection. Final guide from this bundle that I want to draw your attention to is this Game of the Year Edition Fallout 3 official game guide. And this is the thickest of thick boys. This is a big strategy guide, and that's because it covers the original games and all of the add-ons. This is a heavy book, and one I'm really glad to add into my collection, as I've nearly now got a complete Fallout game guide collection set. But more importantly, this has the map, which is often missing from these and makes a difference in price. This is about a £15 guide, but the problem is with all these strategy guides is they are big, they are heavy, and if you go down the eBay route, they are expensive to send. So let's have a look at all the guides together. So here is the entire bundle of strategy guides we picked up for just £20. And I can tell you what, they are super heavy. But herein lies the problem with collecting strategy guides. If you get these posted, they are expensive to post. Normally about £4 to £5 for postage and packaging. That is why I normally stick to picking these up in charity shops, game shops, or car boots. Because imagine how much it would cost to send all of these guides. So some of these guides are more valuable than others, but I think we can easily put a £100 price tag on this bundle of guides, just for the quality of some of them, and just because we didn't have to pay postage and packaging. And this is a massive lump of guides to add into my ever-growing strategy guide collection. There we have then another massive week of game hunting in the bag, and we spent a combined total of £52.50 this week, but we got £179 worth of stuff to add into the game collection. Every week is sadly not like this, but you know, you grab it while you can, you take advantage of the deals, you strike when the iron is hot. Thank you folks for watching. The channel is nothing without you. If I can ask you to leave a like and subscribe, as I put new videos out every single Saturday live at 5, and I want you folks along for the ride. Once again, thanks for watching, and as always, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.